Meanwhile, Donald Trump's attacks against Hillary Clinton often refer to a book that spells out a lot of Clinton's alleged conflicts of interest while she was Secretary of State. Well, now the mainstream media is attacking the merits of that book. Joining me now is Peter Schweizer. He is author of the book Clinton Cash. I guess any publicity is good publicity as long as they get the name right of the book, Peter. But let's get to the heart of the issue here. And it involves something that actually Hillary Clinton was involved with. When she was Secretary of State, she kind of codified rules against bribery. The OECD, one of these international rules committee, put together that codification against bribery, and I'm going to quote from that. And again, she kind of laid the groundwork for this. She says, or they said, individuals and companies can be prosecuted when third parties are involved in bribe transactions, including a family member, business partner, or a favorite charity of the official. And of course, we all know about the Clinton Foundation. Did Hillary Clinton, according to you now and all the work you've done, did she ever use her influence as Secretary of State to favor a family member or a favorite charity?
Oh, I think there's no question that there were entities that donated to the Clinton Foundation, and Hillary Clinton ended up taking positions that were beneficial to those people.
Well, what's the most, give us a specific here. What is the most troubling example of that you've found?
Yeah, David, I would say, of course, the pattern itself is troubling, that there's just too many cases to not be coincidences. I think the most startling is the Russia uranium deal, where Bill and Hillary Clinton helped a small group of Canadian investors obtain these lucrative uranium concessions. They then acquired uranium concessions in the United States. These Canadian investors wanted to sell their company to the Russian government, which required Hillary Clinton's State Department to sign off on that deal. And the Clinton Foundation got $145 million from 9 shareholders involved with that company. You know, that, I think, demands investigation.
Other news organizations have used your book kind of as a guide, as a map, if you will, to look into investigations on their own. One found that the Clinton Foundation had actually had a Swedish sort of version of the Clinton Foundation that even the IRS didn't know about. At one point, the Swedish lottery contributed about $20 million to that branch of the Clinton Foundation at the same time that the Secretary of State was investigating some Swedish companies that were dealing illegally with Iran. Is that another example that bothers you?
That's a great example, and you can add to that, by the way, that the Swedish telecom company that was the heart of that investigation, Ericsson, paid Bill Clinton at the time that investigation was going on $750,000 for a single speech. Mind you, David, they had never sponsored a speech by Bill Clinton before. They weren't interested. Now they did, and 7 days after he got paid, Hillary Clinton's State Department issued a statement and said, we're going to ask the company to police themselves. We're not going to take further action.
Now, you, as you well know, are in the crosshairs now of the mainstream media, who says a lot of details of the book are either wrong or discredited. And Donald Trump has been using your book, announcing that he's using your book to go after Hillary. One of his charges he announced last week, and I'm going to quote from it. He said, as Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton laundered money to Bill Clinton through Lorette Education. That's a for-profit education group. While Bill Clinton was an honorary chairman of the group, Clinton's State Department provided $55.2 million in grants to Lorette Education from 2010 to 2012. Lorette thanked Bill for providing unbelievable access to the Secretary of State by paying him off $16.5 million. Now, the Washington Post just looked into all these charges, gave it 4 Pinocchios, meaning that they couldn't find any truth to it, that there were a lot of facts wrong about what Donald Trump said. Who's right in this, Donald Trump or the Washington Post?
Well, I can tell you what we reported, and that is that the State Department sent $55 million, not necessarily to Laureate Education, but to a nonprofit that was run by the chairman of Laureate, a guy named Doug Becker, and that nonprofit that got the State Department money was running programs through his for-profit, and that Bill Clinton at this time was being paid $16.5 million. So there's no question about the flow of money, who is getting money, when when they were getting money. You know, it's kind of funny because the Washington Post in their fact check says at one point they even went to the Clinton Foundation and they went to Laureate to see if there was anything to this story, as if those two entities are going to come back and say, yes, of course there is. This is what happened. In terms of the flow of money, the Washington Post absolutely confirms. Yeah, the Washington Post confirms all the flow of money.
All right. Peter Schweizer is the author of Clinton Cash. It's a book you might want to pick up and read. Peter, great to see you again. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.